got delivered to the house, and I was picking it up, and then she had to do Facebook Live. She had balloons and cakes and cards that were delivered, but it's at home, and she's here.
But you should have gone home to pick it and bring them here for her.
Yes, to put it in front of the. She's gonna eat it by herself anyway. She's not gonna share.
It's for me.
Thank you, Daddy.
I carried you for 9 months now.
Exactly. Nobody carried with you.
I need to eat the cake to let my belly to shoot out, and so I know that I have eaten.
Well, this is live. Oh dear.
Hello, Ajake. So, how did Moja de Sola celebrate Mother's Day today with you?
I had the day off, so after the morning routine and Baba woke up, I handed that over to Baba, and she got me a lovely flower and a gift that is so thoughtful that I can carry everywhere that I go.
Oh, that's nice. So this leave, I don't understand it, but hey, we allow you.
Basically, the leave was 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep.
That's good. That's good, though. Why will you be sleeping for 4 hours?
Pastor?
Marilyn, have you called your mom today?
Is it Pastor's Day? Yes, I have called all my mummies.
So have you sent, what was a gift? What gift did you send?
I am the gift. Her gift is still in transit.
Oh, I mean, you see, and you were complaining about my own gift to my wife.
You said you've got all your mom. Have you called me?
Exactly. Cover your face.
But I'm always on the show with you guys.
Don't mind her.
You came once. You came once.
It doesn't matter.
No, but she's always our biggest supporter.
You see?
Anyway, Reverend Lucy, we celebrate you today being Mother's Day.
Thank you.
You're an amazing mom. Your fruit is there to show to the world. Thank you so much for who you are.
That's okay. That's okay. Don't let me fall off my seat.
Okay.
Oh my day.
Okay, you're a wonderful mom too. 360 mom. Like my mom.
Oh, dear.
Sandra, you're a wonderful mom too. Yeah. Marilyn, may God be with you. You're a good mom too.
Pastor, I just want to know what I did to you.
No, it's true. You look after me at least. You and Sandra.
Well.
Honestly, Sandra, if you don't behave yourself today, you know you have abused me once today. Pastor, I will report you to the old church.
I asked a question.
Oh, you are going there gradually.
Okay.
Don't forget our supporters. Anyway, Marilyn, over to you.
Well, welcome once again, everyone, to Beyond the Pulpit. I'd like everybody to keep inviting people. Feel free to invite your mothers, as today we are having a Mother's Day special. As you all know, today is Mother's Day, so we thought we'd have a focus. And today we have a special guest who's joining us for the first time, but not a new face. We have a Mummy Ajoke. Welcome. Woo. And Ajoke is mummy to a fairly newborn, so she is our newish mummy. And then we have our wonderful Reverend Lucy, who has graced us with her presence before, and she was such a hit that we thought we definitely have to celebrate her and have her back on Mother's Day.
You guys have an interesting way of celebrating motherhood. Rather than buying her gift and everything, you bring her a gift to use her. But it's fair.
And we have Pastor, who is not a mummy, but talks for all the mums. We celebrate you. And Ore, as you may well know, is not here with us because
she's the newest mother.
Mama left in town.
So yeah, today we're celebrating mums. We have a few questions for the mummies on the panel, but if you're a mom, feel free to hop on and answer some of these questions and bring any thoughts or anything you'd like to share to the table. So without further ado, I'm going to pop my first question. So, this is to all of us here. Were there any similarities between you and any of your children? Obviously, Ajoke, you just have the one, but any you can see thus far, any similarities between you and your kids?
Behavior-wise?
Anyway.
Me? Yeah. My children, they are very funny. And they're allowed to be themselves. We can make one another laugh a lot. It's like a museum of laughter.
Woohoo.
Because we are yourselves. In it, Sandra. In it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's it.
So no other similarities.
Similarity, you are the confidence. All my children, they've got the confidence to speak. You know, and they can be themselves. That's one thing. They're balanced in that aspect because I allow them to speak, even though if I don't agree, sometimes I pound it on them, but they still speak their mind anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely from you. That's definitely from you.
So that's it. Yeah, and they're very, very lovely and caring.
What about you, Ajoke? Have you noticed any similarities thus far with your little one?
My daughter is 4 months old. I don't know. I think the only thing I probably noticed from birth is she sleeps away at pain, which is something I also do when I'm in pain. So when we go for immunization, she just cries and then sleep it off. And then when she wakes up, she's a lot better. That's the only thing I can do.
Oh. Okay. Early days yet?
Yep.
Cool. What was your biggest fear about motherhood, about having children?
I don't think we should ask Ajoke that first. Bring the newest.
My greatest fear about motherhood, I think initially it was labor, like the actual labor. I was quite afraid of labor, but beyond labor, I think it was failing as a mother. I don't know. I pray to God that I don't fail them and I don't fail myself. And I know that there's only so much you can do. God ultimately helps you to raise a child. So I think that's the biggest concern. But I trust God.
Ooh. What about you, Reverend Lucy?
For me, I've got so many of them. So, because I was, I made it a point when I'm having children that I'm not going to make the kind of mistakes of the way I've been chastised as a child or I've been punished or whatever. I'm not going to do that with my kids. I made that conscious effort of that my children, I will give them the platform to speak their mind. Because I remember when I was growing up, children are seen, but they are not heard. So sometimes you want to say something, say, I'm coming. By the time the mother call you to say the thing again, you don't want to say it anymore. With my children, I want them to say their mind, and I think I've done very well with that. And I even went to school. I went to college to study childhood and.
But before you had kids, right? Yeah. What was the utmost fear or worry that you had in your mind before motherhood?
I think it's for my children to fall out, or for me to have a kind of because I've seen other parents that their children have left home and they don't know where they are. So that's one of my greatest fear, that the way I want to bring up my kids, am I going to push them out or draw them in or enter into their space to know what's going on? And because a lot of people around me have failed in some area, and I'm always prayerful that God don't let me fall into that. And that's why when you are growing up, if I'm called to do something, I'm always pulling you all along. I don't leave you behind. I don't leave you with anybody. You come with me, or I get to obey, because I just want to be there. I just want to know what's going on with my children, not an outsider.
When did that fear stop? Because obviously you've had multiple children. Yeah. So if you had that fear before you had me, when did the fear always there?
Always there, always there. So I have a
question for both of you actually. So, it's a thought that's always been in my mind when it comes to parenting, especially when it comes to motherhood. Would you think that raising your child to be you will you count it as a success or a failure?
To me?
Both of you.
Okay. I don't think I go into motherhood thinking my children should be exactly like me or act like me or have the same kind of, because we're unique, we're unique in ourselves. So there are some things that I've done that is wrong. I wouldn't want my children to go through that. Although I've fallen, for me to get to know that, okay, I will not take that path again. But I wouldn't want my children to even go through that before they realizes where they are going. So I'd rather not. I pray away that kind of fear that I don't want them to be me, because don't forget, my children were all born here. So I was in Nigeria. So why would I want them to go through that? To think I want them to be like me. I just want them to strive to achieve success, to go through school and all these things. That's my main concern, giving them good education and giving them their own individuality so that they can become independent in the future, which they are now. Yeah.
Joke, you said what your fear was. Now that you've had your daughter, has your fear disappeared, or is it still there? Like, is that something you think is never gonna go?
Okay, so I'll answer your question and I'll go back to Pastor's question. The fear hasn't gone. If anything, it's increased, because what I then realized is that I had that fear even before I met her, and now knowing her, seeing her every day, the love is immense, and every day I'm pushed more to do something better for her, to create a safe space for her. So it's almost like day in, day out. I should not live in fear, but I don't know a better word to use, but it hasn't gone. If anything, I just want to make sure that
you're more aware.
Yeah. It hasn't gone. But I trust God. I just pray about it. And then also because I hear different stories around me, it's beginning to, it's almost like how you have certain expectations of pregnancy and motherhood, and then you actually fall into it and realize the expectation and reality are worlds apart. Yes. So hearing stories from different people, my aunties, my friends, I'm beginning to realize that honestly, there is so much I can do aside pray and trust God. I would do my best as a mom, but I can't really orchestrate their life or how I want them to turn out without prayers and without God. Pope, what was your question again?
Raising your children to be like...
Oh, raising my children to be exactly like me. No. No. I don't want Desola to grow up like, she can pick one or two things from me, but I don't want to raise her exactly like me. Not that I'm a bad person or a failure, but I am a result of everything that happened around me. My upbringing, my parents, the community I grew up in, the location. That is what has produced this person. And I would not want my child to go through the same thing. So I would not want her to be in the same environment or the same. I want her to have better opportunities, better platform. I want her to be bold, to be confident, to be able to speak up. I want her to be a success. I don't want her to struggle. I don't want her to hustle like I had to hustle. So I don't want to raise her exactly like me. I want a better version of me. Yes.
Okay. So following from that question, it appears that both of you answered that question from the place of the pain and everything that we went through. We don't want our children to go through it, which is understandable. But would you not think that children also need that resilience to develop the same resilience that you have now when they grow up?
Having me and Baba as parents, I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt that my children is going to be very resilient. We are not there. We have such an amazing upbringing that we are sure beyond doubt that we would not spoil our kids, or they would not be laid back, or anything like that. But it's just that there are certain things that we grew up that has formed us that I don't want my child to have to go through. But I would not hand them money or success. They would know and understand that you have to work for every penny. It's not good for grace.
Wow. Okay, just to lead off from that then, is there anything that you experienced growing up that you want your children to also experience? Like something from your upbringing that you were like, yeah, I want my kids to experience this.
I don't know.
So before you answer that, a pre-question to that: is it even possible to want your children to go through something that was an experience that was painful to you, that you learned from? Come on, I'm not even that. Don't judge me.
No, I think it's possible, because if it's something of discipline. So let's just take, for example, like boot camp, or your I don't know, military training or something like that. It's painful to you, but it shaped you into being a better person. You would want them to experience that shaping, not so much that the hurt or the pain.
Your mom is shaking her head. You don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, no, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't, because.
What about boarding school? You know, your experience in boarding school. Would you want me to experience that?
I want to experience
that. You didn't go.
That was the first. That's boarding school. That one. I went to boarding school from age 8.
I went from 6.
I didn't do primary 5 and primary 6. I just went. They just throw me out and take me to Niger State. Niger State to Lagos is a far, far, far place. And because I'm very mouthy at home, I'm the youngest of my family, so I'm very mouthy, and I was taken there. I wanted the only girls' school, and my parents took me to a boarding school that was a mixed school, and I didn't even like it from the first time I got there. And I had to run away. I ran away from school. So I want my children to go through that. If they don't want it, they don't want it. Why would they force them?
Wait, mommy, relax. You wanted to put me in boarding school there?
Yeah, boarding school here.
Yeah, but that's the same thing.
No, here. I still get to you. I can get to you here.
They are not the same thing.
In Nigeria, Pastor Pei, Lagos to Niger State is a very far for an 8-year-old girl to be away from the parents. It's like, I had to run away, and I wouldn't want you to do that, because I went on a train, Nigerian railway train, that takes me 4 days to get to Lagos. So on getting to Lagos, I was hijacked at the station because I didn't pay. So I got.
But that's a unique experience. But the format is.
No, I don't.
The format is boarding school.
The boarding school here would be better than Nigerian boarding school, because I was really trained in the sense that here we share. But at home, I'm the youngest. We don't share. I don't share anything.
Okay.
So getting there, and also when I was in uni, I was in Kegites. And we travel from
Kegites. For those who do not know, Kegites are palm wine drinkers.
Palm wine drinkers?
Yeah, it's palm wine drinking club.
You are alcoholic.
Well, it's okay. What are you saying? Palm
wine drinkers club.
Anyway, the Kegites will travel from Abeokuta to Ibadan and I don't go.
To go and do what?
Gyration now.
What does that mean? What do you do in gyration?
You just sing and dance now. What are you on about?
Gyration.
He was one of them.
Stop it.
Pastor was one of them. So let
me ask you a question. That kind of experience that you had with the Kegites, right? That kind of fun that you had with the Kegites, it wasn't so great a fun, because alcohol is not so great, but you wouldn't mind your daughter having this social no.
No. It's not everybody that is in Kegites that drinks. Understand? Okay. You only do it for social gathering, because that's the only thing that gives you like fun, And then you go to weddings, your colleagues' weddings and things. We sing. We make like a jolly good fellows.
So you are
the party.
You are clubbers.
We're not going to club.
It's not club.
Palm wine and gyration. That is clubbing.
Oh, Pastor Ope.
Reverend man. Reverend has a past.
No, okay, it's good. Let me tell you. That's why. Can you imagine living? Sometimes the bus that is taking us, because maybe one of the driver has had too many to drink or something. You are coming back, maybe sometime in the night, you're coming back to the campus, and the tire of the Costa came off. But it's the grace of God and the praying. My parents were praying parents at the time. Eventually towards my 300 levels, I left that, and I became SU. Scripture union.
Okay, so you see this transition of you gyrating to you know.
Are you not enjoying me now?
Okay, you
it's because of the
mommy, wait. You gyrating until you like praying now, yeah? Holy Ghost fire.
That's it now. Okay. You know, God doesn't use those who are God used those who are broken. So he mend them and he put them on the platform.
So you see that transition, right? See that transition. Was it useful to you to build you into the person that you are today? Would you want me to have that transition, as in being in the world per se, and then discovering Christ, or you would want me to just be, if life would happen again, you'd want me to just be SU from the beginning?
No, not SU. No. You see, the Bible says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So he has some intrinsic intelligence that he gives you. Your talents and all that is there. You see, we have this thing that we want to do this, but sometimes it's good to go through it, but I cannot force you to do that. But you too, there are things that you've done that you will not say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, because it's a pathway. You need to learn by yourself. My parents didn't take me to university to go and do that. But because of friends, sometimes friends influence what you want to do. But when you now realize that, okay, no, I'm not doing this. Because it was even my coming into SU was through going to I went to a disco. From disco, I ran away from there and I gave my life. Because my roommate then was a SU. And Pastor Okpe can tell you what SU means.
Oh, SU is scriptural union or something.
Yeah,
like
they don't want to wear trousers, they tie scarf, and they wear long dresses.
It's devout Christianity, basically.
Anyway, my roommate was an SU. My friends would come. But she said she's always praying for me. Whenever I'm with my friend and my roommates, I'm connected. But when the three musketeers, I think they are called them three devils, when they come into the room, they will talk down on the girl. The girl was so, well, she took it in her stride. And then whenever I'm with this girl, we'll talk, she will minister, she will say things, I'm okay. But I decided I should come with her to fellowship. But I didn't go at that time because I told my three friends, don't come on Friday because I'm going home. Don't come to my room. I'm going to my parents' room. But they came eventually, and I've already dressed up like my roommates as SU to go with her to the something.
So
they said,
what do you think? Are there experiences that you think that you wouldn't mind your child going through so that they can become? They are not so pleasant experiences, but hey, maybe it might help them in their development. Is there anything you can think of like that?
Yeah, I think I was thinking of the question and I was just thinking about growing up. I think there was tiny bits here and there that I don't mind training or putting my child through. One would be financial management, for lack of a better word. So I remember that when I was going into uni, I used to think that there was money in the house, but they needed to make me understand that money does not grow on the tree. So they would give me money for the month, and if that money finishes in a week, that's my cup of tea. And after the first month of finishing my money in a week, second month finishing, and no one else giving me money at home, it made me realize that the money is actually for the month and not for the week. And so I started learning to live on budgets, to prioritize my need, and it really shaped me. And now I find out that now I do well with money management. I just don't blow money or spend money. So I don't mind doing that to my child to make them understand that you need to be prudent in your spending. Another thing where I thought about again about my upbringing was an experience I had with my uncle. So I grew up with my grandparents, so I wasn't really with my dad. And I remember that when I became a teenager, I was a bit naughty. And I was probably seeking validation or attention from the wrong place. And I remember that.
You mean from boys?
Sir?
You mean from boys?
Yes, from boys.
No, I just like clarification.
So I remember my uncle came one day. I mean, I was entertaining the attention, and then we used to write like love letters and stupid stuff, you know. Okay. So, sir?
No, I'm greeting you.
So I remember that one time my uncle came and he had this conversation with me about how beautiful I am and how I didn't need to be, seeking that level of attention or validation from those boys around because there was really nothing they could offer me. And just that conversation, I would never forget, shaped the rest of my life. I just got very confident, very bold. And if any boy should tell me, oh, you're so beautiful, I look at them like, yeah, my uncle told me that this morning. And, it just really boosted me, and I was able to keep myself up until when I was ready. So I think that those kind of conversations and, trainings really helped me to shape who I am. So yeah, one of those memorable ones that I remember.
Would you also say that your experience of writing all those love letters also helped your writing English now?
No, we didn't. My writing skills came from my love of reading. So I used to read a lot. I love to read books, and so it helped my English, helped my writing, helped my speaking.
Some boons.
Oscar,
No, I'm just wondering.
Next question.
Next question. Sorry, Barry, over to you.
I'm done. Okay, and what would you say thus far has been the toughest part of your motherhood journey? An example, what would you say?
What's been the toughest part of your motherhood journey?
Toughest.
That is you. No, I'm trying to juggle our memory.
I think they're finished.
No, you're trying to juggle your memory. What's the toughest part of your motherhood?
The toughest parts.
Look, from outside looking in, I could tell you that there's been a few. So which one is the toughest? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's you. It's you.
You said you know some. Which one? I can't think of any.
What do you mean? Okay, being away from your children, raising special needs kids, relocating across countries.
It's that my children will still. My toughest is leaving them and being away for them for a couple of years, and especially thinking about my Jackie and my youngest one. But I think even with the problem, with the toughest idea in my head, I just need to hand them over to God, because it's of no use you crying or lamenting when you cannot physically be with them. So I handed them over in prayer, to God, and they came out right. And
before the follow-up question on that, why you're answering it, ma'am? Mm-hmm. Even when that question came up, I was looking at Sandra's reaction, and straight away in her head, several things could come through her head as challenging times that you've been through. Mm-hmm. And it appears to me that while Sandra could see those as very, very big things, you possibly might just have accepted as, hey, no big thing. No, what is your coping strategy? What's your coping mechanism? How are you able to cope through? What?
My coping mechanism is that I make sure I communicate with them, and I also make sure that.
Can I ask a question that might provide more clarity? Why do you think that I saw them as really tough and you struggled to identify those as tough? Yeah. Is that something that you just expected? Is it I don't know if
is it because you've been through worse things?
Those things normal?
Yeah. You see, when something happened and you cannot physically change anything, you tend to have the belief that even if I'm not here alive, these children will go ahead with their lives. Because I won't wish them to be wherever I am at that time. So it's something that when you can't physically reach something, I think you just kind of leave it to God and say, God, handle them.
So would you say, Ma, that
I know it's a tough time.
Would you say that mothers should raise their children with the mindset that, if I'm not here, this child should be able to sort themselves out? Should that be a mindset in the mind of mothers?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But you see, life happened to every one of us. And then no one go into motherhood and start to wish that I won't be here. My children will continue. No mother will do that. But sometimes things come, There are chances, there are challenges, but there are some challenges that you won't physically pick up. Even they put it in a hat, pick a number. But when it comes, you can only say God. You have to be very. I think that's where prayer becomes a reality. Prayer becomes the tool to uphold that child.
We can't speak in general on Beyond the Pulpit. We have to always speak personally. Is this personal? Is prayer is the key? Is that a personal mechanism for you, or is that for everybody else? How do you process and deal with like things that people might see as traumatic or as a huge challenge? How do you cope in those instances? Take one example, and how did you cope with it?
Okay. I think as for a parent, when you are going through something, that's why I like people. For me, it's good for you to ask. When you are going through something, some people might not want to ask questions, or if you are going through something, I think it's better for me. I ask for help. I'm always launching out. I don't hide what I'm feeling. I share that, because in sharing it, somebody might tell you exactly that, oh yeah, it's normal. I go through this. That's it. I'm able to share and tell people how I feel, talking and talking to my children as well, and writing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
As I will say again, my daughter is 4 months old. There are trivial things like sleepless nights, but that's normal stuff. It's expected because I'm expected to take care for this child. But I would say that since I've given birth to her, the biggest struggle has been trusting her with other people. I don't know where it's coming from. I just feel like no one can care for her better than I can. And I know my husband is online. And it's really bad because even when he's taking over, I have to repeat everything again. So put the food here, and then put this, and then check her hands, put the blanket on. I know it drives him crazy, but I think that's been my greatest struggle, trusting other people to love and care her the way I would.
But no one will, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're her mom, so no one will. So you just have to trust that they would do their own best, and it will be fine.
I always wonder when women say that. I might not do it the way you want it done, but I will do it in my own way, and the baby will appreciate it even much more than your way.
You can't say that.
I will tell you the two difference.
Pastor is right.
Wait. When the baby sees you, he sees a milk factory.
Not really.
When he sees me, he sees a place thing. So who do you think the baby, when he's hungry, goes to the mom? When he needs other things, comes to the dad?
And you can only speak from your perspective, so that is correct.
But you know what I noticed? I'm so gentle with her, and one day I caught Baba playing rough, and I almost
exactly. And she was laughing.
And
exactly.
and I was really upset. But after then, I think I started carrying her that way too. But I wouldn't.
Yeah, you focus on milk production. Baba will focus on.
Not really. I think it's just the emotional attachment of having carried the child for 9 months and then labor and everything. You just tend to be naturally gentle with the baby compared to a man that just comes and thinks he can be throwing the baby up and down.
Baba, they've laid out your fathering prowess on the other pulpit.
Pastor, you were right there with him because you said that you were a plaything.
Yeah, that's why the baby loved it.
Anyways, life is more than playing, and people are more than milk.
Life is more than feeding.
Yeah, you're the one that realized parenting to feeding and playing. No one else said that.
What else do they do when they're babies? Eating, playing, and sleeping.
Okay, next question. So
what has been the best part thus far of your motherhood journey? I know that you might struggle to encapsulate, but maybe think about some of the best memories.
Ajoke first. Your best memories in 4 months.
That might be from carrying to actually pushing the child out.
So what has been my most...
The best memories or the best parts of your motherhood so far?
Oh.
Or most enjoyable?
I think every day is beautiful we have. I would say that when I think back on my Labor Day, I feel immense pride. I feel like I did that. And I don't know, it just fills me up with pride. Like, yeah,
That's why you want to do that one quickly.
Pastor, my husband is all hand. So I feel that, but every day I think just the fact that I can look at her and say, I'm a mom, she came out of me, this is mine, like 100% mine. I just love it.
Do you know what? I always question, the concept of unconditional love for your children. At this point, can you see your daughter doing anything that would actually stop you from feeling the way you're feeling right now?
No. You know, it's so bad that I watch my friend with a toddler scolding her daughter, and I'm like, how can you talk to her like that? Because
wait.
scolding her.
You just wait. She's marinating.
That's where I am right now. Right now, I'm not at scolding stage yet. Right now, everything she does is perfect.
Okay.
But even if you have to scold, I think he's going to be in love still.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Mommy, short answer though. We're running out of time. What's the best part of motherhood, or has been the best part in your 5 times that you've done it?
It's giving birth to the children and then seeing them in my hand and growing up. I love my kids. I don't even know what I can't quantify it like that. I just love them, and I love them equally. I love them in their uniqueness.
She loves me more. My sister that's watching it now, that she's commenting, she loves me more.
Oh my!
You know, it's so interesting that you have this big woman, Sandy, seated beside you, who is your daughter.
I know.
And you keep calling her kid.
I'll always be a kid. If I can be 70 years old with wrinkles on my face, she's always gonna call me a kid.
But my baby.
Raised up their hand.
Okay. What's the next one? Ooh, okay. Can I ask the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Did you always want to have children, or did you ever think about not having kids? You know, the era that you grew up in, it was mandated that, women must have children. Did you ever think before you had children, before you had me, in fact, that, I'm not sure if I can do this motherhood thing? I don't know.
No, I've always wanted to have children. In fact, I wanted to have 12. That's it.
So that was your calling in life, to be mother?
Or to be mother to children, that's thing, yeah.
All right. I don't know about you.
I've always wanted to. I grew up in a big family with my grandparents, so I've always wanted to be a mom. I was very sure that I wanted to be a mom, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a wife. So that hasn't changed. So I like well, that has changed because now I'm married.
It's too late.
So I've always wanted to have a child, and much better.
I think a lot of women think like you, Ajoke, that marriage is one thing, but children, that's something that they could decide quite early on, that's what they want to do. Marriage is a bit it gets has to be. But,
I don't understand. What do you mean, Sandra? That they rather want to have children and not kids?
No. A lot of women are sure that they want to be mothers, but they're not 100% sure that they want to be a wife.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's because I think it's about the love. It's about the unconditional love that you can have for your child, whereas another human being is conditional. The love that you have for them is conditional.
I think for me, my reason was because I looked around and I saw a lot of, I think I probably saw too much into the marriages and relationships of the people around me. And I'd always been a career woman. So I just thought I would just want to be this top executive. When I'm ready, go and adopt a child, or go get some sperm in the hospital, pump myself up, get pregnant. That was really my plan, go to the hospital, get a baby or adopt a baby. But it was more driven by my desire to want to be very successful in my career.
But how would marriage hinder that?
I started with I saw too much into the relationships of the people around me, too much hassle, too much stress. I didn't have time for that.
So when did that change?
When I met Baba.
Oh, you're trying to score your point back now, so that.
On a serious note, though, I mean, he knew that it took me a while to say yes to him, but I think he made me see he was coming from a very solid family, and it made me see the love and the joy in a happy mommy and daddy environment.
Don't worry, he's blowing you some kisses now, so that was your fast.
That's her husband.
That's cool. So having said that, though, I know there are ladies on the other side who are happy to be married and with their partner, but aren't interested in kids. And from that, someone has asked, what advice would you give to someone who doesn't want to be a mother?
So each their own.
I think I would want to ask why you don't want to be a mother first, and then the advice would stem from the reason.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, oftentimes I think that the desires that we have, whether to the left or to the right, are always a function of where we're coming from or what we see around. Just like a Joke who was already making that decision based on, or putting that desire on, based on the marriages that she's seeing around her. So someone who doesn't want to have a child, they too would have been coming from that position of what they've seen around them and how that might have hindered or affected, right? Now, what I'm going to say to such a person is the problem is not the child. It's not the having the child as a problem. It's the way things were managed. So what the person should consider is, if I have a child today, how will I do it such that whatever happened around me that I did not like will not happen to me? Because you would also see people who had children and still got to the height of their career, right? So they all carry height of anything that you want to be. It doesn't matter what it is, right? But that is what you need to think about. You cannot. There's an adage in my village that says that you won't say that because you want to throw away the bath water, you're going to throw the child as well with it, right? So you have to learn to manage or put systems in place to ensure that having a child does not affect what you want to be, and it shouldn't.
If I could add, I would say that for me, the Bible says we should go out there and multiply, and I feel like there's enough people in the world to help with that multiplication. I think it's a personal choice, whether it's informed or influenced by the things your upbringing or your background or things around you. I don't think it's necessary for you to have children if you don't want to.
If it is out of what you said that, oh, you've considered it and you like, oh, you don't want to, that is understandable, as long as it is not driven by either of fear, right, or fear of failure or timidity or circumstances around you. Does that make sense? We as Christians must learn to live by faith rather than all those things that tends to intimidate us. D is raising up her hand. Oh, D is there already. Hello, D.
Hi. I think you guys have kind of answered the question I was going to say, because initially I wanted to say what I don't personally, at the present moment in time in my life, I don't necessarily want kids, but I definitely am open to getting married. And the reason why I don't necessarily want kids is because I've never really wanted them. Like, I love kids. I'm praying that all of my friends, my sisters, and all the people would make me godmother so then I can hand the kids back when it's done, to be honest. Because personally, I love kids, but also I know this. I love quiet at a particular moment in time, and I've had kids in my life since I can remember. Literally, since I can remember. So I know I personally don't really want my own kids. Like, I love kids, but I love the satisfaction of knowing I can give them back to their parents. So
let me ask you.
Anything wrong with that?
Let me ask you a few more questions, right? Is that because of the commitments and the sacrifices that comes with knowing that you don't have a choice on this person?
What do you mean a choice on the person?
If you have your child now, then everything becomes about that child, and it's like choice is taken away from you, in favor of the child.
Not necessarily, because for example, if Ajoka should be kind enough to let me babysit her kid, there's nothing I won't do while that child is in my care. Like, I will make all the right choices for her. So in regards to sacrifice, I can still do that.
Long term.
Long term, I just don't care for it.
So if you have your child now, you cannot guarantee that, or you have.
If I have a child and I have the responsibility, I'll have to look after that child. There's no way I won't do that.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily want one. And I don't see where in the Bible it says that, it's a bad thing that I don't have one.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But there's nowhere in the Bible that says it's a bad thing. But there are several places in the Bible that says it's a good thing.
True. It's a good thing, but you can also be a mother without necessarily physically giving birth. Like,
of course. But whether you physically give birth or you adopted, it will still amount to becoming the same thing. You still have to love the child, have the child with you, be responsible for the child the same way.
I mean, I think being
whether by adoption or by giving birth, it's going to be the same thing.
But I think, like, even being a godparent, is that not important enough? Because it's still a responsibility. Should anything happen to the parent, God forbid, you literally need to step up in that role. I mean, God forbid.
Not necessarily.
Really, God forbid.
Not necessarily.
You sound like a ghost parent.
Exactly, ghost parent.
But you're still praying for the child, I mean, I know as a godmother, I will definitely so into the child's life. Definitely, I'll take my responsibilities serious. But yeah, those are my thoughts anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the next question?
What's the next question? Okay, this is applicable to both you and Ajoka. How was your relationship with your mother? you're looking at Ajoka first to answer. either of you.
Okay. My relationship with my mother is on point.
It's on point.
Yes. Although it did not start from the beginning like that, but eventually we became best of friends. I knew that when I was growing up as a child, because my mom said I came in, I showed her up because she was already old age when I came forth, and because of that,
What's old age?
Old age.
She was already in a menopause thing. She was my elder brother is 13 years older than me, and so at that time she has taken so many manners of medication. So when they now told her that she was expecting me, when she gave birth, I had to be in the light therapy for a very long time. So because I speak my mind, I've always been ever confident. So she doesn't like my outspokenness.
Okay.
Because I don't mind wherever she is. I'll just speak what I needed to speak. And she looked at me as if I've come to torment her. That's how she see me then. But my dad was very close to me.
It's just your mother. It's just your relationship.
Yeah. But eventually we became. I tell her anything. So we're so close.
When did that evolve for you? Your relationship changing?
It was a joyful one.
No,
And when I was in, I think when I came back I was actually in Form 4.
What's that?
Secondary school. My step to the end of the secondary school year.
So you were a teenager?
I was teenager, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Did you do anything, do you think, that actually shifted it from you being like enemy, so to speak, to becoming friendlier?
I was a model child. So I think that one is a pride for her.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that was it. And I was able to be open to her. And I shifted from my father to my mom.
Something that you're saying isn't adding up.
What do you mean?
So you said that you were a model child, but your mom thought that you were her enemy. So you can't be model.
No. We're talking about when that changed. That's what the question Marilyn has.
Oh, you became a model child.
Yeah. No, because as a child, I speak my mind. She doesn't like that because I'm very outspoken, even in the public. Okay. So she doesn't like that. But my father spoils me. So because of that, it's like we myself and my mom were like a rival to get the attention of my father. So eventually, when I was in secondary school, I've learned to be, a lady and all that. So yeah.
Okay.
Marilyn,
good joke. Over to
you. My relationship with my mom, I think, unfortunately, myself and my mom, we didn't get the opportunity to be close. So we didn't have a relationship, and we are, in the last 5-6 years, we've been working on one. I'm trying to.
A question that I always ask myself, because my dad was never around, is so how do you learn how to raise up a child then?
You see, that's a very good question, Pastor, because when I got married, I've been growing up with my grandparents. My grandpa would always go to work, and my grandma had a supermarket. I never saw any affection or anything. I didn't. So my first struggle as a wife was how to be a wife, because I didn't know what it meant to be a wife, because I didn't see anything. If they were not separated, they were doing separate distant relationship, all of my aunts and uncles, so there was no platform for me to learn anything. But what I did learn about how to be a mom, I think I learned affection from my auntie, whom I went to stay with, I think, at secondary school-ish, after secondary school. And I think all that, the care, the love, the commitment, the discipline, I think all of that I learned from my auntie, just watching her with her kids. And I learned a bit from my grandma, although I'm not sure if what my grandma did was raising me, if I can call that raising me, because she had given birth to all her children and the male was just, So I think I learned some from my auntie, and to be honest, so far so good. I've been winging it and I've been praying. So there wasn't.
By the way, you're doing a great job because you're very refined and you're always smiling. So whatever happened or whatever path led you to today, it's been amazing. So we thank God for you.
That means you're inspiring a lot of people.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions come in. It says, we've spoken about how having kids is a personal choice. Why do people still go on to want to wish all women Happy Mother's Day when not all women are mothers or even want to have kids?
Yeah, I don't like that. I personally don't like when people tell me Happy Mother's Day. My womb is unused. Like, stop wishing me Happy Mother's Day. It's a bit weird. No, when people wish me Happy Mother's Day, it's weird.
No, you're a potential mother.
Yeah, but I'm not a mother yet. It's for
mothers. Because you're in the category of woman. So you have maybe attached to you.
So on the panel here, I think Pastor Oppe would encourage it to say Happy Mother's Day to anyone.
Yeah, because I'm a servant of the gospel. I'm a minister of the gospel, and the Bible says you call those things that are not as though they were. Okay, faith.
But how do you even know that they want it?
I guess for me, when I look at Mother's Day, it's the same way that I wish like Merry Christmas or Easter. I don't think about the weight of it, perhaps. I just say Happy Mother's Day. I may even say it to a man without thinking about it, to be fair.
I beg to differ a bit because I think wishing people Happy Mother's Day is a big thing, and it's also very sensitive. One, because you might be doing it from a good space, a good position, but you don't know what that person's struggles are. You don't know, maybe Mother's Day brings sadness to them because they're trying to conceive. You don't know if maybe they don't want to be a mom. You don't know, maybe they're having challenges in their marriage, And when you just say Happy Mother's Day, it might just be a wrong reminder, even though you're coming from a good place. It's the same way I don't approve of people who, when I say, oh, congratulations on your baby or happy married life or something, and they say, oh, yours is coming. I find it very offensive because why can't you just say thank you? And I think there's a lot of things that our aunties, mommies, and daddies do by default. It could be a cultural thing, but I really find it offensive when I tell someone, oh, or I'm doing bridesmaid, and then someone comes and says, oh, don't worry, this time next year. Did I tell you by next year I want to be married or I want to be carrying my baby? So I feel like these things are too personal.
I appreciate that, okay, but if we are proponents of that, we will also push away the love that is behind it. I'll give you an example. We trusted in God for 5 years for a child, right? So I understand fully how Mother's Day greeting feels, right? When we're trusting God for a child. Are you with me? But it still did not stop us from actually exchanging gifts. On Mother's Day, I will still buy gift on behalf of my son for my wife. Wait, I appreciate that it's not everybody that wants a child.
Different.
Yeah, it's different. But this time around, we were trusting in God for a child. Do you get it? So I understand how painful it was, right? But we also know, because we are Christians, we also know that at times you speak things into people's lives.
Valid.
But
you have to know me personally.
Yeah.
What if I don't want that? Because we live in the world, Pastor. The thing is, there are generations.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't know who wants and who does not want.
That's why keep
So
your
I would not go and ask you, do you want a child before I greet you?
Yes, Pastor, that's valid. But because of the world we now live in, we don't have that privilege and opportunity to just be casual or general with our greetings. People sometimes find it offensive, and we have to be sensitive.
Yeah. So no. It's okay for me to say to you, "Oh, Happy Mother's Day," and if you feel you don't want it or you're offended by it, you also have the right to tell me once, right? That, oh, I would rather not. Then I will understand that, okay, you are one of those special ones that does not want it. Do you get where I'm coming from? But we don't say that we should not wish each other birthday.
Pope, wouldn't it be safer or more polite to not do it and then find out that they would like that than for you to do it and then find out that they don't like it? Do you get what I mean?
And also, Pope,
it's a prophetic action from my own side, from the church.
Yes. No, Pastor, when you stand on the pulpit and you say Happy Mother's Day to everybody, that's okay, that's fine. But when you meet Marilyn one-on-one and you say Marilyn, and you know Marilyn doesn't have a child yet, and you say, oh, Marilyn, Happy Mother's Day, that's personal, that's one-to-one. And those are the kind of examples I'm citing.
Marilyn is hoping something that I'm going to be a mother, so yes.
Because you know that about her. But if it's on a one-to-one perspective, maybe not. But if you're generalizing it or you're putting on your status, Happy Mother's Day to every woman out there, that's acceptable. I would take that.
No, I mean, even one-to-one, then Marilyn will tell me that, oh, Pastor, you know, I don't want to be a mother. So then I will know that, oh, Marilyn doesn't want to be a mother. I will not say Happy Mother's Day to her again.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you get it? We have to be careful. Out of us trying to be careful, we now rob people who actually genuinely want it.
Yeah, I just think we should acknowledge that it can be triggering and it can be offensive. I think we just need to acknowledge that. Obviously,
Mother's Day for us was a crime period. The same thing with Father's Day. But yet, not saying it, I remember on Mother's Day, I brought 2 teddy bears for Mother's Day gift. I carried all the way from back in home. Why? Because it was a prophetic action. You get it? Why would Abraham, right? Abraham that did not have a child, went to change his name so that people can be calling him Father of Nation. Do you get where I'm coming from? At times you call those things that are not as though they were, so that they can be.
Yes. And just a disclaimer here, Pastor, I'm looking for a very nice car. Please be prophesied into my life. Me, I'm not offensive.
Okay, the next Tesla owner.
Hey, no. I don't want Tesla.
So now, see, when I say Tesla owner, I say no. So when I say Mother's Day, why can't you just say no too, and then tell me what you want? Anyway, next question.
I want Tesla.
Really want my date is past weeks. Okay. It says the church consistently push for people to have children, but there are many children in the world without parents. Why then doesn't the church push for adoption more?
Okay, I will speak on behalf of the church in that one. Number one, we have to also still be careful that whenever things are happening in our community, especially because we are Christians, the first thing that we always blame is the church, right? The church does not push for any form of anything when it comes to whether if you adopt, if you do, we are planning to adopt, right? It is more of a cultural thing, right? That in the Black nation, right, adoption is not always the first go-to. If you go to your parent and you say, oh, I don't want to have children, but I want to adopt, they will start questioning you. That is number one. We want to adopt. But the other side of it as well is that we are in a nation that does not encourage adoption. So if you don't know it's always good for us to get the facts of the matter, right? We are in a nation that does not encourage adoption, because if you adopt a child in this nation, for example, tomorrow the child has which is not a bad thing, the child has the right to ask for who the father or the mother is, right? And then that means the child also have the option of moving away to them, right? Now, if you want to now go and adopt a child from Africa, it will cost you nothing less than £10,000, the processing. So when you now look at it, you can understand why people are not doing it, rather than saying that the church or some people are discouraging it. It's not a smooth process like that.
I don't think people, I haven't experienced that the church actively discourage adoption. I think they just encourage you having children. I don't think there's any preferred medium.
Yeah.
I don't think, I've never heard it that, that a baby must come from your womb kind of thing. I've never heard it in that specificity. So I think that's what we internalize it as or process it as. But I don't think I've ever heard that you must have your own, or you must never do IVF, or you must never, there's never any kind of
thingy
that's specified.
We're meant to do a session on alternative conception.
We are going to do a session.
So you'll see that every other meet is okay. There's nothing wrong in it.
I think perhaps because the church is a voice, and so sometimes people are expecting us to speak about everything, and if it hasn't been spoken about candidly, then as far as people are concerned, the church is silent, and then perhaps not pro it.
And we're having this discussion some time back. When it comes to adopting from a foreign nation, I think the UK government put the procedures and the laws in place recently to encourage people to adopt here, right? Now, the process in itself for you to adopt from a foreign nation is over a year, right? It's just, they put so much in place so that it now becomes so, and then they just, let me just adopt here. But if you now want to adopt here too, you now start considering that the child can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm walking away from there.
But your own biological children can do that. I mean, not that they want to be
Which
with
is
someone
true,
else.
but at the same time, the father that has not raised the child up at all can come and fight for
the child.
Marilyn, you're on mute.
She wasn't talking to us, she was gossiping.
Okay.
But do you understand now? So it is the complexities that is not allowing a lot of people to do that. If not, I'm so sure a lot of people in our generation would have adopted, because it's safer to even adopt from here than even back home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's weird though. Sorry. I was just thinking about back home and adoption. I feel like we raise a lot of people's kids traditionally as Africans that aren't ours. We just don't have the formalized, I've adopted them. Because growing up in my house, I had so many cousins that my mom was raising that were just like friends' kids or anyone that she had found. And they were just a part of the family. So I feel like our attitude to adoption, particularly in Africa, is just an informal one. But you have so many people living in your house.
We feed the village.
Oh.
That is the African way of doing things. We adopt the whole village. If one person is successful in the family, you've actually raised up the whole family.
It's interesting. Okay, I agree with that, Joke. These topics are sensitive. It's better not to greet individually, as you don't know who wants to be a mother or not. Oh, this is based on our Happy Mother's Day greetings. Right. Okay, what would you change about your life's journey, if anything, thus far as a mother? Is there anything that you would have rather done differently whether it be in your personal choices or even with your kids?
Why do you say you're good? Is there many?
Not many. I think I would have picked a millionaire to be Sandra's daddy.
Okay, Ajoke?
Oh my God. Okay, so something I would change in my personal life or as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
As a mom.
Either.
As a mom, I wouldn't change anything. I feel
Okay,
like
just something that you change your personal life that affects motherhood or mothership.
that would affect motherhood.
Yes.
She's just 4 months. Yeah, what I've been doing is breastfeeding and sleeping. So nothing right now that I would have changed. But in my, yeah, I have a concern that the way I grew up, my background, whether consciously or unconsciously, would have an influence in how I would raise her. I have that concern, and it's something I'm trying to make sure that I don't let interfere too much in how I would raise her. But so far in the choices I've made, I'm not perfect. I can't be perfect. So yeah.
I'll be question for you, Ajoke. All right.
Yes, sir.
So, you've spoken this evening about your upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
things that you rather run away from, things that you don't want your child to go through. In that bid to run away from those things, how do you ensure that you don't walk to the other extreme?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good question, and it's something that I have thought about before, finding the middle ground. And to be honest, I don't know. I try to not let fear be the greater factor in my raising up my child, which is the fear of the things that I went through. I don't want my child to have to go through. I don't want that to propel me, because I think I might get too protective and she might just choke and push me away. So that's a concern. But I'm trying to find the middle ground, and I think my husband brings the balance. And so far he's been doing that, because apparently I'm already spoiling her. Apparently, a 4-month-old. But yeah, so he brings that balance. He is my number one. He checks me. He checks me, and I do the same for him too.
I've never been a mother before, and I don't think I will ever be one.
You can try.
But like I said to you earlier, I also never had a dad. So the way I was able to look at that was to look at my relationship with God, right? So the way God is my father, right? The same way I want to be a father to, right? You know that also God is El Shaddai, the double-breasted one. Is also as a female side of him, the mother side of him, right? So you can actually also look at God as the perfect example, and also try to be that to your child.
Yes, except for the fact that we all have different relationships with God, and if there's something I think I might have mentioned to you, I struggle personally to see God as a father. I don't think I have a father-daughter relationship with God, because I don't even know what that is or what that looks like.
You have a mother-daughter relationship with
I
God.
don't have a mother-daughter, because I didn't have that. I didn't have the privilege of having mother or father. But the relationship I have with, that's why I'm able to relate more to God, Jesus, as a friend, as a comforter, as a companion, than I would see God as a father. I don't know if you get my drift, but it's something I'm working on personally. So
we're going to talk more about that in the backyard.
that's why I'm blocked. Don't call me.
Okay, taking it to the outside of motherhood, has your idea of what it means to be a woman changed over the years or over your life experience?
Yes.
Okay. What has changed?
Wow.
Is it too heavy?
Let us start writing down. I need to get a pen.
I think that in the world that we live in, our parents try to do a fantastic job of preparing us to be women to be mothers, to be wives, compared to how they raise boys. But that's a different conversation. But it still, as I said before, doesn't really prepare you for the realities of being a woman. And no disrespect to the male gender, but I just genuinely think that women are superhuman. The amount of things I can multitask and juggle at the same time is alarming to me myself, because I didn't even know that I am that capable of accomplishing that. A woman has to be a mother, a wife, a cook, a maid, a career person. There's just so much that's in there, too many faces, levels, stages. It's a lot. And how we're able to navigate that is nothing but the grace of God. Mm-hmm. So honestly, every day it changes. Every day it changes, and it's ever evolving, but for the grace of God.
What about for you? Has your idea of what it meant to be a woman, you know, back when you were a teenager in the prehistoric ages to now?
I've always seen myself as a woman.
Right, yeah, but your idea of, okay, this is a perfect woman, has it changed of what it means to be?
That means she was well prepared.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting when Ajoke was speaking, and I'm sorry, I just have to respond on behalf of the male gender, right? When we appreciate the works and the sacrifices our women do. You guys, you are awesome. You do wonderful. You multitask. You look after the home front. You do everything. I will respect you guys for that. But I also will suggest that we should not always be comparing the sacrifices of the woman with the sacrifice of the man, because they're comparing orange and apples. Do you get it? While the woman looks at everything home front, I always say that the woman takes care of the home, everything. I will respect that. But the man also takes care of the village. Do you get it?
What about the women that take care of the village also alongside of taking care of the home?
And in the same way, there are also some men that takes care of the village and also takes care of the home. Do you get it? Those are exceptional circumstances. But in ideal fact, you realize that a woman's focus is always to their immediate home, right? While the man offers the balance in the whole family or the whole friendship network and everything. So roles are naturally there without we actually defining it.
Pastor,
Ma,
you said the man takes care of the village. Yeah. If that woman is not the woman with the virtuous quality of a Proverb 31 woman, that man cannot take care of the village.
I agree.
There's an input.
But when you look at that Proverbs 31 woman, right? Where was the man of that Proverbs 31 woman situated?
Okay.
Look at that last scripture. It was at the entrance of the village.
Okay.
He was dealing with the other people in the village.
Understand.
That when they start from afar, they called her blessed because she was looking after the home front.
Okay. Is that it? That's your own interpretation of it. So balance it up. But if the woman was not a woman who is receptive and open, because if the man does not give that woman the oil of being a contented woman in the house,
there will be problem.
The village will be in uproar.
Of course, I agree, 100%. I agree. That's why I'm saying that is the balance of both, right? Because the man must allow the woman to be everything it could be at home. And I'm sorry to say, women, I know we don't always like to hear this. The woman at times as well must allow the man to be the best he can be in the village.
You know, okay. You know, some men, they would rather show up their prowess in the city or in the village, but they are not actually what they project themselves to be at home.
I know.
And because a woman is always receptive, and if you share, you know, we don't struggle with men, but men struggle with the women at home. So that's the reason why if it's balanced, then you'll be able to do whatever you want to carry out.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
So today we're talking about mothers.
Thank you.
Okay, so
I just wanted to say something. Mine, what happened? I just wanted to say something. I think that, when Pastor said, when Mommy said, she has always been a woman, and then Pastor said, meaning that she was prepared. And that's very good. And I realized that that's probably true, because people around you in your life could prepare you for womanhood. But then this scripture, Proverbs 31:10, that likes to cause problems sometimes in my home, is a scripture that I like to call ideal. My husband does not agree, but it says everything that a woman could be, should be. Don't fight me on the English, please. But I would say that there it tells, if you know what it means to be a woman, if it could prepare you, because it tells you everything that you should be, that you could be. Not necessarily that you are able to, but potential. And so when I say everything, she goes out in the middle of the night, she clothes them, she feeds them, she watches them, disciplines them, feeds them, trusts the husband, does this to the husband. It prepares you almost, as Christians, for what an ideal woman can be. Now, if you can't do that, good for you. If you're not able to, just remember, in a class, there are A students, A+ students, there are B students. People are at different points in their lives, and it's okay if Proverbs 31:10, you're only at 50%, that's okay. If you have 70%, that's okay. And if you're A+, all good and well for you. So I think it's just what it is.
Hallelujah, Pastor.
How do you baboose my son? How do you baboose my son at home? Eh?
No.
So when he's commenting, I say, "Oh, in this one, no, I'm a 50%. I'm a D student." Eh? Okay, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Pastor, what's the parallel scripture to Proverbs 31? I think it's in Ephesians.
Ephesians.
Ephesians
5.
Yours is more spiritual, Lift up the child.
No, do you know what it says?
Compared to
wait, what you don't understand? Hey, do you want to go to all these dynamics?
No. Mother's Day.
Because for mother, you are saying Proverbs 31 woman. For the man, is your Bible.
Okay, Mary, the next question.
I don't even know what to say. Okay,
I think we could end on, what advice would you give to either your younger self or young mothers? What advice would you give to them now looking back, 4 months, looking back 33 years, what advice would you give to your younger self or younger mothers, new mothers, I'd say? Younger self. You do younger self. Ajaka will do younger mother, new mother. You do younger self. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I think to be yourself, because I think coming into motherhood or to marriage, there are some elements that you denied yourself just to fit in or to project who you are. But it's rather, I would advise myself to be you. Let that flaws or whatever from the beginning, it's there, so you know how to accelerate in that, because you marry into a family, you have to go through the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, and then you lose yourself in the process. But it's better for you to learn yourself, to let them know who you are. Knowing yourself, because sometimes you end up and they start to push you, then you start to have trouble. But to be yourself and not to rush anything. There's no rush in life. Don't rush anything. Be yourself and accept yourself for who you are.
Mama, let's. Okay. Ajoke.
So to new moms, I was just thinking in my head now. I had a workshop yesterday for new moms, and I would have said that if they were there, they would have gotten advice. Well, I'm generous, so I'll share something. I think the word expectation means what it means for a reason. Mm-hmm. And you can have so much expectation from pregnancy to delivery to postnatal. As a new mom, it's okay if every I's and T's are not crossed. It is okay. Don't be too hard on yourself. As I said, I'm winging it. We are living every day, because me and baby and Baba, we are first-time parents. We're learning on the job, including the baby. It's not going to be perfect. And never, ever use someone else's standard as yours. For example, oh, A labored for 12 hours, while man labored for 24 hours. You are different, your body is unique. Baby A is sucking breast, your own is not. See, we are different. Do not judge your success by other moms' success. Do not judge your baby's milestones by other baby's milestone. It's not fair on you, and it's not fair on the baby. And it's definitely not even fair on the child, on the people you're making comparison with. And the one thing I also wanted to say is, if I look back now, or when I look back now, I wish that I was a bit more lenient with my mom.
Finally.
Oh, don't go there. So, because when I got pregnant, the things I went through woke me up to the point where I'm like, how could my mom go through this? In fact, I had questions for her, but let's leave that. But it brought to my, like, how could my mom have gone through this and we don't have this bond? So I wish maybe I was a bit more patient and a bit more lenient with her. And I'm saying this to say that sometimes you don't understand the attachment, the feelings, and the love until you experience it yourself. Mm-hmm. So to learn from other people's experiences, please be a bit more patient and loving to your mom, because her love, her struggles, her challenges, she would never be able to articulate it effectively, and you do not want to have regrets. That's all I'm saying.
Pastor Ajoke.
I'm proud of you, daughter. I'm proud of you.
Can I just chip something in? You know, in life, even as a young mother, excellence is not perfection. It doesn't require perfection. It requires you being unique for who you are. You see, you said something which is very profound. You said the milestone of another child is different from yours. But as a woman, we need to be kind of like open. I just came up from another platform, which I talked about, challenge accepted. You see, when you are going through this, it's good that you said you spoke to some young mothers or something yesterday. It's good to pass on knowledge. Nobody will see you and know that you have gone through this distance with your mom. But to be open and to be open to answer questions or give yourself is an empowering tool to empower others. So that because some people might be going through, they might not have the balance like you did. But telling them, you've given them an opening to know that, okay, all right, okay, I think I should go this way. And I'm very proud of you, Ajoke.
Oh.
Internet hug.
Honestly, I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you, man.
And I pray that you'll continue, because God has made you a pioneer to champion the other person coming after you.
Oh, don't cry.
Thank you, man.
Now the boy is just kissing today. Because that labor word we have very soon again.
So, stay out of our bedroom matters.
No.
Okay, thank you. Marilyn.
I don't even know what to say. There's just been so much today. I've really enjoyed your words of wisdom and you being open and sharing. We know that the motherhood journey isn't an easy one to navigate. So proud of you all and thankful for you all and every mommy out there. That's all I have to say.
All right. On behalf of the BTP panelists, Sandra, can you help us give your mom a peck, please?
Pardon?
Abba, if you can see us, can you come and give your wife a kiss on our behalf, please?
No. No.
These ones.
Abba, we're waiting for you.
I got to take yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
So you're the one that said we should not say it.
No, I'm saying Happy Mother's Day to Ajoke.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
To everyone that's celebrating it. And next week we are going to be talking about alternative conception. So bring your questions, your thoughts, your ideas on it. We're really excited. Thank you as always to everyone that joins, that participates, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. And have a lovely evening and weekend, everyone. Bye.